Imagine a quiet cabin tucked deep into the forest, the smell of pine filling the air, a gentle stream babbling nearby. The world is miles away, and the only sounds are birds and the rustle of leaves. This vision is what draws countless people to the wilderness. Every year I escape from the chaos of modern life, a dream of solitude, self-sufficiency, and peace. But as enticing as this romanticized isolation may seem, it hides a truth that many fail to anticipate. Nature is indifferent, and the wild does not negotiate. Many remote cabin dwellers arrive with a false sense of security. They picture evenings spent reading by the fireplace, morning coffees on the deck, and a life intertwined with the forest, but untouched by its dangers. Yet, beneath this serene veneer, the wilderness is alive, and it watches. Every rustle, every shadow, can hint at something more. The tranquility that initially lulls cabin residents into comfort can quickly give way to unease. Strange tracks in the snow, an overturned garbage can, or the distant howl of a wolf at night are subtle signals that this paradise may not be entirely safe. Isolation amplifies these risks. Help is miles away. Cell service is often non-existent. And the self-reliance that drew you to the woods suddenly becomes a necessity for survival. The allure of detachment from society comes at the cost of exposure to the raw, primal forces of nature. What starts as a retreat from the mundane can evolve into a high-stakes encounter with apex predators, turning your idyllic haven into a hunting ground. By the time many realize the depth of danger, it is often too late. Have you ever wondered what it truly feels like to be alone in the woods, knowing a predator is circling just beyond your cabin wall? Imagine the sound of heavy paws scratching at wood, the rustle of fur brushing against trees, and realizing that the creature outside does not see you as a guest, but as potential prey. The following stories will reveal exactly how swiftly serenity can transform into survival, and how ordinary people became unwilling participants in nature's brutal hierarchy. The wilderness is full of life, but some forms of life are more dangerous than others. Apex predators like bears, wolves, and big cats are not distant symbols in documentaries. They are intelligent, adaptable hunters capable of turning an isolated cabin into a hunting ground. For many remote dwellers, their first encounter is subtle, a set of tracks near the porch, a shadow flickering across the tree line, or an unidentifiable sound outside the cabin at night. At first it might be dismissed as a curious animal or a trick of the wind, but these moments often foreshadow terrifying confrontations. Take the case of a couple living deep in Montana. One night, the sound of heavy scratching echoed through their cabin walls. Peering outside, they saw the glowing eyes of a bear reflected in the moonlight, circling their home as if assessing the possibility of intrusion. Another resident in Alaska reported hearing wolves howling at the edge of his property, an unnerving prelude to observing a pack encircling the cabin in a calculated hunt, testing barriers and patience. And then there are those rare, spine-chilling encounters with big Cat's Mountain lions and leopards that silently patrol the perimeter, moving in near-total darkness, leaving only paw prints and broken branches as clues of their presence. The psychological impact of these early signs cannot be overstated. Anxiety sets in, sleep is disrupted, and every snap of a twig becomes a potential threat. Cabin dwellers quickly learn that the forest is not a passive observer. It tests them, probes their defenses, and in some cases, sets the stage for a direct confrontation. When a predator recognizes that the cabin is not merely a structure but a potential source of food or a threat to territory, the balance of power shifts. Suddenly, your peaceful sanctuary becomes a stage for a primal contest between human ingenuity and instinctual animal aggression. By understanding these early encounters, we start to appreciate the fine line between observation and invasion. Each rustle, each shadow, each strange noise is a message. The wilderness respects neither isolation nor human fantasies. The next part dives into the heart of these confrontations, revealing how ordinary people faced extraordinary peril. Survival in the wild often comes down to a split-second decision. When a bear lunges at a cabin door or a wolf pack corners a dwelling, instinct and ingenuity collide. One woman living in a remote Idaho cabin recounts a night when a grizzly bear ripped through her porch railing, forcing her to retreat to an inner room and barricade herself. The bear's raw strength echoed through the timber like a thunderstorm. Each strike a reminder that this predator was not merely curious, it was testing her defenses, weighing her as potential prey. Another account involves a man in the Canadian wilderness who awoke to the piercing eyes of a mountain lion through his bedroom window. Trapped, he had only one option: remain calm and use his knowledge of the predator's behavior to survive. Slowly, methodically, he moved to a reinforced closet, making noise to assert dominance without provoking attack. The mountain lion, sensing resistance, but unwilling to escalate, eventually retreated, but the psychological scars remained. And then there are encounters with wolves, the cunning hunters of the north. Packs coordinate their movements with eerie precision, testing fences, doors, and even humans' reactions. In one harrowing tale, a lone cabin dweller noticed food disappearing despite proper storage. That night, he heard coordinated howls and observed shadows circling. Using quick thinking and improvised deterrence, lights, noise, and strategic barricades, he managed to drive them off. But the awareness of being hunted lingered long after the confrontation. These stories share common threads: fear, calculated courage, and the rapid adaptation required to survive. Each encounter is a testament to the primal struggle between human and animal. No weapons, no backup, just raw wit against nature's relentless force. These tales remind us that isolation is a double-edged sword. The same solitude that provides peace also removes safety nets, leaving humans vulnerable to the instincts of apex predators. Surviving a predator encounter is only half the story. The aftermath often carries its own weight, both psychologically and practically. PTSD, hypervigilance, and sleepless nights are common among those who have faced apex predators in isolation. Cabin dwellers report an acute awareness of every rustle, every shadow, every distant howl. Their once idyllic retreats are now imbued with tension, a constant reminder that nature is both beautiful and merciless. Many survivors adapt. Reinforced doors, motion sensors, bear-proof storage, and strategic lighting become necessities rather than conveniences. Daily routines shift. Meals are prepared indoors. Outdoor activity is limited to daylight hours, and escape routes are memorized. Some individuals, however, can make the heartbreaking decision to abandon the dream of solitude entirely, trading independence for safety. Others accept the perpetual risk, learning to coexist with the threats that lurk just beyond the cabin walls. The human instinct to adapt is remarkable. Those who embrace survival strategies often report a deeper connection with the wilderness, understanding its rhythms and respecting its dangers. Yet even the most prepared are never fully safe. The knowledge of unseen eyes of powerful predators lying in wait alters the perception of freedom and solitude. Life in isolation becomes a careful negotiation with the wild, a balance of respect, vigilance, and courage. These stories are cautionary tales for anyone venturing into the wilderness. Solitude is seductive, but it comes with responsibilities, awareness, preparation, and respect for the forces of nature. Understanding predator behavior, recognizing early warning signs, and implementing safety measures are essential. Modern technology, trail cameras, GPS trackers, and alarm scan provide a layer of protection. But nothing replaces vigilance and knowledge. The lessons extend beyond cabin dwellers. Hikers, campers, and adventurers must acknowledge that the wilderness is not a backdrop for human comfort. It is a living, breathing environment with its own rules. Apex predators are not villains, they are survivors, perfectly adapted to their world. The question becomes whether humans can coexist without underestimating the danger. As you reflect on these harrowing accounts, consider your own relationship with the wild. Could you survive if the predator outside your window did not retreat at the first sound? Would you have the courage, composure, and ingenuity to protect yourself and your loved ones? True terror lies not just in the threat itself, but in understanding that it exists, silently waiting. For more chilling stories, survival accounts, and explorations of the terrifying unknown, subscribe to True Terror Files Official. Hit the bell icon and join a community that confronts fear head-on, because sometimes the most terrifying truths are the ones that are real.